Welcome back, Peach Gut Creek Farms. This review video is going to be a nice one. It's going to be an unboxing and review. It'll take me a couple days or so to get this one done, but this is the Vevor Diesel Heater. All right, let's get this baby open. All right, you get everything in the box to run this thing other than a DC power supply and diesel fuel. So, looking in, we got a little package here. I'm just going to leave my knife out. And that's going to be your way you direct the airflow. We have to figure out how to get it out the box. Got your instructions. Look at those. All right, we're out the box. Take this foam off. Right there. All right, there she is. This is the Vevor 8K 12-volt system. So, as you can see, you got your fuel levels there. There's none in it now. It does come with a remote. Turn it on and off from the tent. And it does have the digital display. This one also comes with the capability of Bluetooth, which is the way I'm going to run it most of the time, through my phone, which I can't show you right now because I'm recording on it. And then it does come with a fused power supply there. Run that directly to your battery, or I'm going to come up with a way to use it on different power supplies. One to my Gladiator, one to a power supply I have here. Yeah, we'll see how this works. I'll eventually put this cigarette lighter style plug on it. You just want to be at least 10 amps. All right, let's take this box off the bottom, see what all's in there. And that's going to be all your exhaust hoses, your intake hoses, and your hose that puts it into your tent or your shop, or wherever you use it. That's correct. So, got an uninsulated vent pipe. Doesn't really stretch very long. Okay, you can direct that. You got your intake pipe, your intake filter. Got a bunch of hose clamps. We got your exhaust pipe with muffler. Alright, let's take this thing apart and inspect the inside of it. Take the lid off first. You don't know till you know. Alright, so that is loose. We'll put a zip tie around it. Keep it on there. Mainly for doing this, I want to look for hoses that might be kinked. That right there's got a pretty sharp bend in it. Might see what we can do to alleviate that bend. And I want to check this green hose, which will be your supply going down to your heater. Down here's the heater. Here's your fuel cell, fuel pump. we're going to turn this thing over. All right, and there's no kinks in that green hose. And there's a little bit of fuel in it from where they have test ran this thing in the factory. One thing I did notice right here, so blocking your inlet is the hose, so we're going to move that hose out the way. Probably zip tied over here on this side. Yeah, that's a lot better. See, that hose right there was inside, in between the grate and the intake. So we'll zip tie that to that power supply right there. Get that out the way. And we'll zip tie that to that. Like I said, don't make it so tight that it kinks the hose, just that it holds it out from where it don't need to be. Put that off. Spin that around where it won't get in the way of the base. That's looking pretty good. All right, we'll get a big zip tie to hold the fuel cell from moving around. When the case is on it, it's not really going to matter, but just for extra security, we're going to do this. If my zip ties is small enough. Again, I don't want to make it to where the case or the cover doesn't fit on it, so we'll check that out. That feels pretty good. Let's cut them chains off. All right. At the base, mounting surface to mounting surface, you're right at 16 inches wide. Sorry. Right at 15 and a half on your discharge. So it is right here. And you're right at 15 to the widest part of the casing. Comes in at the top of the handles is right at 16 high. So it doesn't take up a lot of space. Just the heater alone, no fuel in it, comes in right at 17.6 pounds. All right, guys, with diesel heater, we're going to look at some of the stuff you get with it. Again, short air outlet pipe, kind of short but expandable air intake for the burner, and then the exhaust pipe for the burner. You also get mounting brackets along with mounting hardware for the muffler. You do get the filter for the intake. Get a bunch of hose clamps and mounting brackets for all the involved piping and mounts. Looks like to mount it down, or bolts and nuts to mount it down with. So we're going to go and we're going to check every connection on this thing and let you see that. We'll show you anything we found loose. I'm going to make sure these two fittings right here are connected firmly, tightly. That one is. And that one is. This right here can be pushed on a little more. Loosen that clamp. We'll slide that hose on up on the top of there, on further up on the fuel pump. We'll put the clamp back on. Everything you can do now will just ensure that this thing will heat at night when you want it to, or in the day when you want it to. Now we'll look at the bottom. So it goes right there. That one's on there firm enough. All those screws are tight. So, all right, I believe now we're going to be ready to install all the hose pipe fittings connections. All right, we have the vertical style heater. As you can see, I've got it laid the same way it's sitting here, just on its side. The exhaust will go on this side, and the intake will go on this side. This is all for the burner. That's a good thing because this little plastic hose is on your intake side, not your exhaust side. So we will hook those up, and then we'll stand it up and go from there. Okay, we're going to take our heater intake hose. We're going to stretch it out real good. We will put the hose clamp on it, one of the hose clamps on it. And then we will put the filter on it or screen. Tighten that up. And it doesn't need to be very tight. Remember, that is plastic, so you can break it. All right. So then we will come through this hole right here in the bottom. Leave that angled up there. And we'll get our other hose clamp. We want to think about how it'd be easiest to tighten that up, right? So if you look right here, there's a hole. See that hole? So if we point that thing up, just like that, we should be able to get it from right there. Like that. Put that on there. Angle that up. Get a longer screwdriver. And we will tighten that guy down. And that one you can tighten because it is going on something solid. All right, so we will use a zip tie. Stand this up real quick. Let's undo the electrical wires here, get them out of the way for now. We run a zip tie around this guy right here. So that'll keep him up just like that. Again, this is not something you have to do. It's just to make it all easier on yourself. Put your little bend in the zip tie where it will come back to you. If you can get your hands working when it's this cold. There we go. That's coming through. Bring it up here. Lock her down. And we can cut the excess off. All right, next up is going to be our discharge hose, or exhaust hose, exhaust pipe. That goes on either side, really. So we'll take one clamp, put it on there. You can tighten that one down. Again, that's like a thin aluminum type material, so you don't want to go too tough on it. We're not going to loop this through anywhere because we don't know where we want this to be, right? So for now, we're just gonna stick it on the bottom. Again, there's another one of those holes right here. So we're gonna stick that thing up just like that so we can get to it and tighten her down. I don't want that to be in your way for the video, but it kind of has to be. All right, so that's on there. We will tighten the hose clamp down. Tighten your hose clamp a little bit before you get to this point. It'll be a little easier on you. But you don't know until you know. Alright. So now you gotta bend this around. Bend it around. Keep in mind of where you're gonna end up when you're done. So clearly we can't light this thing on this table because the legs aren't tall enough. The pipe will be hitting the table. So we'll have to block it up to do that. We'll worry about that in a little bit. For now, I'm going to set her down there. All right. I'm going to put the air discharge hose. This will be the air that's supplied to whatever you want to heat. Put the hose clamp on it. Put it on the around the heater like that, and then we'll tighten it down. Again, get this thing a little bit tighter before you start. You want that up close to the heater as possible. All right, that's on there. All right. As you can see, that right there is as long as that hose will stretch. So clearly, if you're going to heat a tent on the top of your Jeep, you're going to need a longer hose. So you will have to buy that. Other than that, we're going to block this thing up, get it filled with fuel, and get it ready to fire. All right, we'll go back and get this. All right, so this is like your ducting in your house where you can angle the airflow. So we'll go ahead and put that on here for demonstration purposes. All right, it goes on like that. That's the flat piece. See that? Tighten it up. Again, plastic. Don't over tighten. All right, that's on there. Then you take your flow director, and it just pops in here. I promise it just pops in here. There it is. Okay. All right, and then now you can move that just like an air duct in your Jeep, in your car. You can't shutter it on and off, but you can angle it around. All right. So to power this thing, it does take a 12 volt, I believe 10 amp minimum power supply. So I have a 12 volt power supply, and we are going to hook it up, and then we will fill it up and prime it. You can run this off of a 12 volt battery if you have one, lawnmower battery, anything 12 volt you could run it off of. I don't have those, and I need a more permanent solution for testing things like this, so I did get the 12 volt power supply. It just converts AC to DC, and it does have enough amperage to run this heater. As you can see, this is a fused power supply coming from diesel heater, so it's already there. So you've already got a fuse, and it is a 25 amp fuse. I think it only requires 10 to run, so it'll protect against 25. All right, we are going to put a little diesel fuel in it. Get this thing ready to run. I'm not going to fill it up all the way. I don't intend to fill it up all the way, just because I don't have time to run the thing wide open for that long. All right, it's got diesel fuel in it. All right, we've got our 12-volt power supply hooked up. Got a little bit of fuel in it. We're going to turn it on, see how it works. So first thing we're going to do is prime this thing. So you hit the power button. It says it's going to come on. It's going to talk to you a little bit, and then you hold the down arrow for 7 seconds. We're going to see if this works.
Start heating.
So that didn't work. We'll turn it back off and we'll try it again.
Thanks for using. I wish you a safe journey.
All right, don't work that way. So we'll turn it on again.
Start heating.
Put this thing in manual. All right, should put it into a purge mode where it's only running the fuel pump, but that is not working, so we're just going to let it go the way it is. Turn the heat level up. So we know we're not burning yet because we're not hearing the fuel pump run. We are getting a flow through the fan. And right over there is the fuel pump. Fuel pump. Nothing happening yet. There it goes. So the fuel pump is starting to click. You can hear that, I'm sure, with the microphone sitting on top of the gas tank. All right, go over here and we can see some fuel starting to be hit into the tube, pumped into the tube. All right, we're seeing more and more fuel. Still not, none has made it to the heat exchanger itself as of yet. But you can hear the fuel pump and the fan revving up quite nicely. All right, we're getting some fuel there. Maybe what they started with. We just got a big puff of smoke. There we go. Now you can hear that baby running. You can see a little smoke coming out of it. And you can see just a very little bit of fuel is actually coming out. So that's all wide open. I'm going to go start a fan in here, my exhaust fan, so I'm not choked out. So right now we've been running for less than 6 minutes. The exhaust coming out is around 430 degrees. We're already getting some more there now. Just starting to pump. So inside the pipe right now we're running about 110 degrees. This is with the short pipe. So the longer pipe will be a lot cooler air, but that's pretty amazing. And we've used maybe a thimble of fuel so far. So how hot's the metal tube? Around 213 degrees, 220. $310, closer to the discharge of the heat exchanger. I'm really surprised at how little smoke there is. I mean, most people, the first time they start these up, burn off a bunch of good smoke at first. But this one really, it's got hot gas coming out of it. It's not smoky. Even smells clean. Closer look at the controller. Of course, we'll set the time eventually. So we got it set on what they call the gears, gears, okay? On the controller, it says level. In the owner's manual, it says gears. So red, 3, that's the max. So you can adjust that thing. Leave it right there for a minute. Here to slow down. You did. You audibly hear that slowing down. Fuel pump slowing down. Blower slowing down. Alright, we'll go down to the green. It slows down even more. I'm telling you, that right there is, I mean, it is still the seals. Still over 200 degrees right there, so that's hot. My gosh, that's hot. Can't get you on camera. Ow. So that is the discharge. The air coming into your tent, right there, 243 degrees. But that baby is hot enough to burn you. Again, I have an insulated exhaust over there. Just later. I'll shoot that thing again. If you want to see that, after it's had time to cool a little bit, it's still right at 200 degrees. It's hot. This tube, outside of this tube is right at 166. We'll turn it down to the lowest setting. So that's the lowest setting. In my tent, at that temperature, I believe I can run us out tonight when it's going to be 20 degrees. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be amazing. See here where the stainless steel exhaust hose has turned a nice coppery color, as stainless steel does. But you can see the muffler is still burning, and you can hear the flow coming out of that thing. Right there's the fuel line. Like I said, just a drop every click, right? So that line's not even full, and we've already made it this hot. So we got no leaks. Closer look at the fuel pump. That's what you'll hear ticking. There's our air inlet. So that's clean air into the heat exchanger. And that side stays cool. I guess that right there is just screened to keep bugs out, and it meters the amount of air going in. You don't want to touch that guy. That guy's hot. And you know, in a perfect world, you're going to do this outside. So you want this exhaust somewhere away from the inlet, because air comes in here through the heat exchanger, out the discharge, and into your tent. So, or your, wherever, your garage, wherever you got it. So you do not want this guy near this guy. So I plan to get a longer exhaust hose, which you can order straight from Vevor, and be able to give you the option to be able to run it further away from the unit, further away from your tent, your truck, your shop, wherever you don't want it. So let's go over here and look and see what how hot our tube is now at the lowest setting. So now it's, you know, it's nice, still warm. right there at 194 still. Alright, so one thing is you want to make sure you have a steady power supply. You don't want to hook this into the cigarette lighter of your truck, because when you turn the key off, this thing's going to shut off. If it's hot like it is now, and you shut it off, all that unburnt fuel stays in the heat exchanger, and it will start to build up and cause problems in the long run. So look through the procedure or the manual, try to figure out how to shut her down. It doesn't really say nothing about shut down, so we're gonna hit the down button. Nothing's really happening there. I did hear a click. Alright, so now I'm gonna hit the power button and see what happens.
Stop heating.
Stop heating. So I don't like that. In my opinion, it should have ran a little longer than that. Okay, it is still running. Fan is still going. And it's going to clear out all the fuel. So there is hot air still coming out of here. Air still being sucked in at the intake. And then you got air coming through the heat exchanger. So it'll do that, and it'll run itself for a period of time to get all that cleaned out of the system. That way the next time we come to it, it's ready to go, fire up and run as it should. So clearly taking apart the way we have the cover off of it, running it open, Vevor, it's not going to void a warranty or anything. The instructions show you how this thing is put together. So as you can see right here, it gives a full schematic of how the heat exchanger is actually assembled. So this thing is serviceable, okay? When this thing stops up, or if it stops up, you can take it apart, clean it, put it back together. I do know that some people run a mixture of used motor oil or used oil along with their diesel fuel. I'm not suggesting that, but that may be a way of getting more fuel economy. Something you're going to throw away is cheaper than something you got to go buy. So if you were to mix that with diesel fuel or kerosene and then run it in this heat exchanger, I've seen a bunch of people do it, and it has worked. So I did get the Bluetooth capable one, so I will be running this thing from my tent or from wherever I want to via Bluetooth on my phone. Can't do it right now because I'm still.
I wish you a safe journey.
Okay. So shutdown is complete. I wish you a safe journey is what she just told me. And the fan has stopped, and we're no longer exhausting anything. So it didn't take too long. But anyway, Bluetooth version. Use my phone to record, so I can't show you that. That's the way I will be operating this thing. All right, I'm Chuck with Pinch Gut Creek Farms. I ain't gonna lie to you. This is my new favorite hot rod, man. This is gonna be the game changer for us. I don't like to sweat, so I like to camp when it's cold. Me, my wife, and my children. So this is gonna make it to where they are comfortable, if not maybe too hot. But I look forward to using this in the woods, on the trail. Oh man, I just can't wait. I like how small it is. To me, all the videos I've watched on them, this right here is a tighter package than what they were before, which is going to make it easier to go in the back of the truck. Make it easier to mount on the wheel step. Yeah, I can't wait to be in the woods using this thing. I highly recommend it for now. When I get out on the trail, you're going to see me use it on the trail. We're going to do some walk arounds and some videos of that stuff. Let's see, that right there is already, I mean, it is, we could pack this thing up right now. It's not even warm. It's not even warm. So that there's, I mean, not even warm. So yeah, we can, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. I am like a kid on Christmas morning. This is the 8 kilowatt diesel heater from Vevor, 12 volt. The model number is X-Ray Mike Zulu Lima Delta 1. And then you got 3 sub versions of that: Delta 2, Delta 3, Delta 4. This one does come with the Bluetooth. Highly recommend that. You ain't going to have to get out into the cold to adjust it. You adjust it from wherever you are, or wherever you're close enough to it from. It does come with the remote right here. Probably not going to use that because you can turn it on, turn it off, and then increase it. But I want to be able to read the area codes, which you can do from your phone. I want to be able to, for that thing to alert me, hey, something's going wrong. That way we don't wake up in the middle of the night cold, or the next morning cold. Yep. All right. Well, next time you'll see this will be on the trail. Thank you. Come back to Pinch Cut Creek Farms.